Historically, the Western Conference has always been an absolutely loaded conference, especially when compared to the East. And some of the teams in the West have made some big splashes, and that makes it hard for everybody to do a power ranking because so many people are so good this year. But I got to do mine at some point, so today is my official Western Conference power rankings, and I'm going to do it in a little bit of a fun way. I'm going to do it in Photoshop. I have everybody behind this little subscribe little thing. Today's going to be the Western Conference one on Friday. Make sure you're subbed up for that. It's going to be the Eastern Conference one. It's going to be This one took a lot of effort to try and really put, okay, what do I really think? Void of internet and talking heads and this and that. What do I think? And the way that I'm looking at this is not in terms of, it's not just the standings. I think it's basically just going to be off who is the best team, and basically the spot that they're at is, I think, maybe the peak that they can get to / most likely landing spot for them in terms of if you got to rank all 15, the X team is going to be in this spot. Probably. That's where I think, at least. It's kind of hard to come up with the power ranking, but we'll do standings next week. Next Monday will be Western standings. Next Friday will be Eastern standings. So make sure you're locked in for that. But to start off, I couldn't fit them all on the bottom page. I don't know how to get this down now. We're going to try and not spoil. Unfortunate. Sorry for some fans. Oh, I'm selling. Don't look at the bottom. Unfortunate for some fans, but yeah, at the 13, 14, and 15, these are guys that are not making the plan, not doing anything. I have the Jazz, Suns, and the Blazers. And I'll talk more about other teams the further we get as to why someone's higher or lower than a certain spot. But the Jazz, I don't have to say nothing. The Suns, I just feel bad. And if they're going to be at the 12, I'm not going to be that worried that, oh man, I put them at 14. They rose 2 spots. 12 seeds still sucks. So generally speaking, everybody outside of the play is going to be in the same spot, basically. So the reason I don't have them higher is because I like what they've done kind of this year. They've moved off some people. They've moved off Brad Beal. They traded Kevin Durant, obviously. They drafted really good. I like Kamal Maluach trade for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and Mark Williams, but I don't see this team competing, especially because last year's playoffs was so tight, and I don't see them wedging anywhere in that without KD and without Brad Beal. So I'm going to put them down here. I think they're just out of the playoff spot. This is basically out of contention. Blazers, same thing. There are better teams than them, and I like what they've done, but they're just better teams than them at this point. Moving on to the number 12 spot, we got the Sacramento Kings. Sorry, Kings fans. But you got to know, if you're a Kings fan, I do like the Dennis Schroeder pickup. You lose Jake LaRavia, I'm like, whatever. But DeMar and Zach LaVine, just in the scope of everything in the Western Conference, I don't think that they're really doing much. I'm gonna be 100% real. I think you can look at this and see, yeah, that's a pretty accurate thing. I mean, where'd you guys finish last year? Somewhere around in the play-in, I think. Did you guys make the play-in? I can't even remember. So I have the Kings just not in contention. Once again, anything outside of play-in is not in contention. At 11, there's going to be some problems maybe, but golly, to the Pelicans. I like Zion, but there are just better teams, man. There are obviously 10 better teams. And once you see those 10, you're going to be like, yeah, it's hard to put the Pelicans in here somewhere. Just inconsistent. And the roster construction is like, you go get Jordan Poole, you go get Kevon Looney, but now Derek Queen is hurt and he's having surgery on his wrist. And I'm like, yeah, not that he was like a massive piece for them. I still love Herb Jones. I love Trey Murphy. I love all those guys. But dude, yeah, I don't see them really pushing ahead of these next teams to make the play-in, because if they make it, one of these next teams got to lose. And that next team is the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, I know they lost Desmond Bane. I know they only have Ja, who plays occasionally, Jaren Jackson, who's cool. I love Zach Edey. But they got KCP. They waived Cole Anthony. They go get Ty Jerome. I like their chances in the play-in. Once again, basically, if you're in the play-in spot, my general consensus is you're somewhere over here, right? I didn't want to really do tiers because that's a little too misconstrued. I wanted to be very, as much as specific as I can get, but there's only so many. It's so hard. If you don't think this is hard, go make one for yourself, especially when your favorite team is in the Western Conference, and yours is going to be different than a lot of people. So yeah, Grizzlies at 10. Number 9, I got the Spurs, and I got the Spurs as a massive riser here just because Wemby, it's not even a far cry to say that he's going to be a top 10 player by the end of the season. The bottom of the top 10 is like Brunson, Halliburton, Ant, LeBron. Like there's really, really good guys, solid all-stars, but Wemby is climbing that ladder, and he's coming back from his blood clot injury looking. He's gonna be very, very good. I mean, it's Wemby. He's gonna get better. So I think that they're at the minimum going to be in the plan. Number 8, we got Golden State. I can't even talk, bro. It's a hard spot to put them in, but they haven't done anything so far. They lose Kevon Looney. Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy have gotten older. And some of the young guys, it's such a weird gap because they have the good. I like Steph. I like Jimmy. I like Dre. Don't get me wrong. But everyone else younger is like Moses Moody's cool. Brandon Dempsey's cool. Kuminga, where are we at with that? Like Quentin Post, where are we at with that? Trace Jackson Davis, right? So there's a lot of here, right? I can't see them being like smack, punch everyone in the mouth. We're going to be top 4 seed. Doesn't look like it. Will they make the playoffs? I think so, just because you have Steph and Jimmy and Dre, and that's all you need. Steve Kerr coaching, 100%. Good team. Number 7 is going to be Dallas. And I know a lot of people have them higher, but their point guard is D'Angelo Russell, who I love D'Lo, don't get me wrong. But you got D'Lo, Clay, Cooper Flag, a rookie, right? Anthony Davis and Derek Lively / Daniel Gafford. And I like some of their guys. They got PJ Washington. They lose Spencer Dinwiddie though. So same thing here. Like you got AD, who I'm not going to say is his main thing is his injuries and he can't play because I'm a Clippers fan. And so I 100% get that. But rookie small forward, I like Cooper Flag a lot. Klay Thompson, he's been looking good in the offseason, but everyone looks good in the offseason, right? D'Angelo Russell, they just don't scream playoff contender. Now, if they do have Kyrie fully healthy, they're up. Was I going to put them underneath Golden State? Yes, but I'm like, if Kyrie comes back and he takes it seriously and he's ready to go by the playoffs or a little bit before, they could be at the top of the play-in, maybe win some games. Let's say they have Kyrie back for the play-in. They could win some games and get to that 7th seed. Number 6. Now, this is insane that the back-to-back Western Conference Finals like appearance, whatever. The team that went to the Western Conference Finals back-to-back years is at the 6th spot. But they lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think Ant is going to take another jump. I think he might lead the league in scoring. Like that's where we're at right now with Ant. I mean, he led the league in 3-pointers made last year, which was not a thing I thought he was going to do, but he's a phenomenal shooter. He is my favorite and I think the best 3-level scorer in the NBA at this moment, just for everything. Dunking, shooting, layups, free throws. I mean, he's everywhere. He's all over the place. SGA is super close, but he's just more athletic than Shea. Whole different conversation I'll talk about in a different video. So, but yeah, Rudy, you got Jaden McDaniels. Mike Conley's getting a little bit older, right? Obviously. Julius Randle played phenomenal, but they got a good core. I like. They got Naz Reid back, but you lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was like heavy minutes for him in the playoffs. Terrence Shannon Jr. can step up. It's going to be interesting. I like Joan Berenger. I don't know. I speak French. I should know how to pronounce his name. But yeah, so I like the stuff that they've got. Number 5 is the Lakers. And I don't think this is an outrageous thing to say. I have Luka maybe winning MVP and 100% winning MVP if they're like a top 4 seed, just because Luka's crazy. But I like some of the additions they've made. Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton. But Luka's, it's just, the Lakers haven't had a super wow, that's a heck of a roster for me since it's been a couple years now, man. I really like what they have with Vando and Rui at their wings and LeBron, obviously, AR, but they've needed that point guard, which you got Luka, but now you got Gabe Vincent in the backup. You got Marcus Smart, who's cool. They're the 5th seed. The 5th seed in the Western Conference is really, really good. So don't think that I'm bashing on them at all. They're not bad. This is a good team. But are they above the top 4? No. Once again, this is over team. So if I look at them and I'm like, a little bit of then I'm going to put them lower. But the higher you get, the less hesitation there is, the higher you go, right? Number 4, Houston Rockets. Now, some people have them at number 1, number 2. I have a little bit of when I look at them, because where's their backup point guard? They don't have backup point guard. That's a massive thing to have. Fred VanVleet, who's an undersized guard. I know you have him in Thompson. He's phenomenal. But it's hey, Reed Shepherd, you played 2 seconds last year. Let's just throw you in and be our backup point guard. I don't really like that. And then they have KD. I like Jabari Smith. I like Tari Eason. They got Şengün, Clint Capella, Steven Adams. I like the guys that they got. They got a lot of good guys. But you lose Dillon Brooks, who was like a really good piece in your perimeter defense. And now you have the interior defense that helps out Şengün a little bit. KD. I like the stuff that they have, but they're not like, oh my gosh, they're going to be insane. That's not how I feel about it. Are they going to be good? Yes. Are they a good team? Yes. Are they like freaking scaring me for competing with the Thunder? Not super bad right now. Now, number 3, I got my favorite team, the Clippers. And I don't think that this is that controversial, honestly. You can look at some other stuff. Once again, anybody in the top 6 can move anywhere, from what I personally think. But I had to put them down somewhere. The Clippers, man, they just added Chris Paul today, and I'm recording this video today, so duh. But this team, without like injuries, is the only thing that I'm like, ooh. So I don't have them obviously at the top, but golly, do they have the best bench in the entire association? It's not close. I just saw this from Bobby Marks. The Clippers bench last year started 257 games combined. That's Chris Paul, Chris Dunn, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Derek Jones Jr., Nick Batum, and Brook Lopez. Half of those guys were starters last year. Throw those guys on the bench. I really, really like the bench, and we've seen that it's depth. It's not, everyone's talking about this youth thing. I like the youth, and even though the Clippers are like the oldest team in the league, it's not just all youth. It's the depth. Look at the Pacers. Look at the Thunder. Look at the Timberwolves. It's youth and depth. Now the Knicks kind of throw that into the freaking trash, but that's whatever, right? I look at this team like, can they contend with OKC? And I'm like, not as well as I maybe would like, but you'd be out of your mind to say this is not the best chance that they have potentially, right? At least this is not a good step in the right direction for this team. So I had them at 3 in terms of the 3rd best team in the Western Conference. I'll use this time to talk about the Rockets as well. Just once again, you look at these 2 teams combined, and you're like, okay, so the top 3 teams, you can guess that the Nuggets and the Thunder are in the top 2 somewhere. We'll get to that in a second. And then you get the Clippers. Then you look at the Rockets and Lakers roster. There's a lot more holes in the Rockets and Lakers roster than the top 3 have. The top 3 are perfectly fine. Could the Nuggets use a backup point guard? Yeah. Are they going to get Russ back? Maybe. Or is that a good thing? We'll talk about it in a second. But you got Nikola Jokic. So that takes a lot of crap work out of it, right? So that's why I have the Clippers at 3. Now at number 2, for the number 2 best team, in my opinion, in the Western Conference next year, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I like the Thunder. But this is not like a light contest. They're good. Are they a little bit too young? Maybe, but they won a championship, right? But it's hard to look at them because it's like, hey, you won a championship. You're going to run it back with literally everybody. You didn't make any moves, but everybody else in the West, except the Warriors, did. So your chance to be the best team undoubtedly is a lot harder. Now, in the standings video, I'll talk about this a little bit more. They lost Chet for like over half the season. So they're going to have Chet. So they might win more or equal to 70 games again this season, which is going to be crazy. So on that aspect, we'll talk about that later in the standings video next Monday. But obviously, yeah, the number 1 team that I think is in the NBA at the moment is the Denver Nuggets, just because, brother, man, you give Nikola Jokic a bench. Holy crap. He already won a freaking championship with the bench one time with Bruce Brown and Jamal and AG and MPJ, who's gone now. But you get Cam Johnson. You go get Tim Hardaway Jr. You go get Jonas Valanciunas. Now, I'm not saying that those guys are like, oh my gosh, they're in their prime. Kind of like my team, where it's like, yo, if this team was in 2017, they would be cooking, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Each player together is going to be so much better because Nikola Jokic is just that kind of leader and player. And let's say Jamal steps up the whole season. Good. Cam Johnson, very consistent. Aaron Gordon, very consistent. Sometimes their second best player. Let's be real. Christian Brown took a step from year 2 to year 3. Crazy. Nikola Jokic, insane numbers. Bro, with the numbers that he put up last year, if he gets a number 1 seed with this team, he's going to win MVP because the numbers he's going to put up with the team around him is going to be so crazy. But they have a backup center. They have a backup shooting guard. They have depth now, right? And better defense. I just think that the Nuggets overall, you give the best player on the planet, undoubtedly, a really good team. Holy crap, are they going to be amazing. So that's where I stand. That's my Western Conference power rankings, I'm going to look back on that a ton and reference, say, hey, this is where I had these guys, and kind of have to, be accountable for all my points. So this is kind of a fun one off the dome. I mean, not off the dome in recording, but very meticulous and looking at rosters and stuff, depth charts, injuries, stuff like that, how everything, coincides with one another. So this is a rough one to do, and the East is going to be on Friday. So that's all we got for today, bro. We out.